point, sports and entertainment, I want you to hit the like button. I want you to sub to this channel if you're not a member. And I also want you to hit the notifications so that you're able to get all of my videos, all of my content. Salute to the whole entire Lions Den basketball and boxing community. We're not talking about either one of those. We are talking about football right now. Listen, this might be a tough pill for some of y'all to swallow on what I'm about to say, but it needs to be said and it needs to be doubled down on. Now, I want to let people know that I don't necessarily agree with Stephen A. Smith too often. Um, but in a case like this, when it does come to Russell Wilson, who Russell Wilson, I've always defended Russell Wilson. I've always came to the defense of him. I've liked the way that Russell Wilson carries himself from a professional standpoint, and of course off the field. I don't have no problems with none of that. But Russell Wilson has been out of pocket. Okay, he's been out of pocket. First and foremost, he's been out of pocket with his play. Okay, let's just call it what it is. And he's been out of pocket with his mindset, his approach to the game. You know, look, I know that he's trying to keep a positive attitude and, keep your, composure and everything like that. But the way that you were talking to the reporters in terms of how Stephen A. Smith was describing him, how you were talking, was completely different than what a person has when it comes to a sense of urgency. Okay? The reason why I agree with Stephen A. Smith in this instance, in regards to Russell Wilson, is because he's acting as if he is on top of his game right now, which he's not. He's acting as if the league actually owes him something, which they clearly don't. He's acting as if they just recently if he came off of a Super Bowl win, as if he is Mahomes, or if he led his team deep into the playoffs as of late, and he hasn't done any of that. Okay, now has he had injuries? Yes, he has. He's had injuries, but now I will say this: the only thing that I will give Russell Wilson is the fact that he did play for a fucked up organization. When we talk about the Denver Broncos, we know John Elway is a crook, and I used to kind of respect Sean Payton up until that situation, and of course I started to kind of look at him suspect with the whole Spygate thing and all that stuff, which I'm not going to get into. But Russell Wilson, besides that, Damian Woody was on key with what he talked about in regards to Russell Wilson. He did say that he is a turnover machine. He's a sack waiting to happen, and also an interception waiting to happen. Okay, and I can't even argue that. Okay, Damian Woody did say that we knew who Russell Wilson was and what he has been lately. Stephen A. Smith, in terms of him getting frustrated and everything like that, with him competing with Justin Fields, it's just Justin Fields' time. It's time for him. Listen, Justin Fields has room to make mistakes. He has room to make his little errors. He has a lot more time. He's got youth on his side. Okay? Russell Wilson does not. Russell Wilson, to be honest with you, and I know it's preseason, but even in the preseason, when you take a couple of snaps or whatnot, you at least want to look, somewhat decent, like you know what's happening, like you already are prepared. You've been through this. You're supposed to play like a savvy veteran. You haven't been playing that way. Matter of fact, I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers have scored a touchdown as of late. So think about why the criticism of Russell Wilson is warranted. Here's the thing, man, and I'm gonna be real, okay? And I usually don't talk like this. What's up, Alex? I usually don't talk like this about Russell Wilson, but man, look, bro, you starting to look a little pussy whipped, man. And like I said, man, you talking to a guy. I like Russell Wilson, what he brings to the table, but it has to be said. Hold on one second. Russell Wilson has to step his game up. Russell Wilson, I can't even disagree. As bad as I want to disagree with Stephen A. Smith, and as bad as I want to say that Stephen A. Smith is wrong, he's right in this instance. I don't blame him for going off on Russell Wilson. Now, I am going to say he didn't have no right to put Aaron Rodgers on Russell Wilson's level or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Because in my opinion, I think I mean, yeah, Aaron Rodgers, he has the MVPs and all this other stuff, but he's no more better than Russell Wilson, in my opinion, because Aaron Rodgers has came up short in many instances too, and on top of that, he's been hurt too. Aaron Rodgers should not have been put in the same sentence as Russell Wilson. But everything else that Stephen A. Smith said about Russell Wilson, I completely agree with, man. I can't even disagree with him. And you know how I feel about Stephen A. Smith. He was telling the truth. Listen, man, you're competing against a guy in Justin Fields, and Justin Fields isn't no slouch. Justin Fields, like I said, he just needs his time to make his mistakes. He needs his time to let his wings be spread. You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to come on here and let y'all know how I felt about this situation, because to me, you have a situation now where Russell Wilson, he's playing with his back against the wall. Justin Fields knows that he got time. You know what I'm saying? And actually, Justin Fields has actually outplayed Russell Wilson. If you really go look at it, he didn't get sacked, nor has he thrown any interception. I think Russell Wilson got sacked at least like 3 or 4 times. So we do have a long season ahead of us and everything. Maybe things will change. I want to see Russell Wilson make it, but he shouldn't have been in this position. And when they said that, they were competing for the starting job, that's when I knew, okay, he's not looking that good. And when I had an opportunity to take a look and look at the Steelers and look how they've been playing, they wasn't lying. But this is my last point. Everybody always talk about, oh man, this is just preseason and all this other stuff. Yeah, that might be true to a point. But here's the flip side of the coin that y'all not understanding. just because one of them guys is a backup, second stringer, third stringer, um, fourth stringer, whatever, that don't mean that he can't be at the right place at the right time. And I always go back to, this whole Tom Brady mess and everything. You know, one thing that you gotta mention about Tom Brady is that he was a backup, and he went from being a backup all the way to where he is now. So we can't always be like, oh yeah, this is preseason, da 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 da, all this other stuff. Because actually in preseason, there might be a guy that does way better than a savvy veteran or a guy that's already, a an all pro, and might end up taking his spot. That's just some, a gem that needs to be dropped to some of y'all's heads, because everybody looks at preseason, whether it's basketball, football, whatever the case is. You can't look at preseason as just like, oh man, these guys. Nah, preseason, that's what it means. This is before the season. That means that they might see something. They might see a guy out there that can actually run a route better than the starter, or better than the second stringer, or even shoot, might be just a starter in general. Like, hey, how come this guy isn't starting? And then they might put him up against the starters and everything. Then, if he has his opportunity and he does great, then bam, he just at the right place at the right time. But y'all tell me what you think. Leave your comments, like the video, share, subscribe, hit the notifications too. Straight to the point. I'm gonna get out y'all.